Shorty, if you can hear
I'm
me.
here to
Hello and welcome to 3 Point Stance Podcast, where we don't claim to be experts. We just give our takes. Take it or leave it. We'll be fine either way. Good morning. Happy Sunday. It's a Bear Sunday. It's game day. We all should be hyped. We on back-to-back victories. Hopefully we can make it 3. I got my co-host. The gang is in the building. The 3 Point Stance Pod crew from here and beyond is complete. We linking up like Voltron. Juju, introduce yourself. Tell people where they can find you.
Good morning. I know if y'all like me, it's a Chicago Sunday morning, so it's a little bit mucky outside. But I'm here today on 3 Point Pod. Definitely up and coming, the new rising. If you're looking for your Chicago sports, you're looking for your trending topics, definitely tune in with us because we're trying to bring y'all some laughs. But you can find me definitely on Instagram and on Twitter. Just search 3 Point Pod. I'm going to be there posting, retweeting, and you can maybe catch one of my pages.
For sure. And we got my nephew Vic, the expert in film and everything, media side, production side, a dope ass person in general, but also has those great sports takes. Even though he's a Philadelphia Eagles fan, we got to let him get on. We not just Bear-centric. So, Vic, tell them where they can find you.
Y'all can find me at the same thing at 3 Point Stance Pod. I occasionally will be featured on there.
All right, for sure. And later on in the episode, in about 10 minutes, we will be bringing on, Shorty and Foster from Bears Country Podcast. But first, we're going to get into what we call our icebreakers. Now, when it comes to our icebreaker, we discuss a topic, 2 or 3, just to get the chat going, get us going, get the hype going, and get some interactions and whatnot, get your thoughts. So if you're in the chat, go ahead and drop some comments to the subject that we're going to discuss. We'll try to keep an eye on it, and if you have any questions or comments, we'll try to respect those and discuss those as well. But first and foremost, bear down. Let's get into it. We're going to get into this icebreaker. So the first icebreaker that we have for our first live stream episode, we're discussing Cam Newton's game manager versus game changer comment. And if you give me a second, I'll try to pull that up so that you all can kind of be refreshed on what was said by Cam Newton. If you're not familiar with it, he basically people thought he was calling out Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott. Who else was it in that category? It was really Tua and things like that, and calling them game managers. And I know for me, at least in the beginning, when we first started hearing the word game manager, it was like a guy that just really couldn't take it to the next level. They can keep it balanced. They wouldn't take you to a Super Bowl or whatnot. That was my first beginning initial thoughts of it. And I'll try to pull up Cam. I'm new to this live stream thing, so.
The thing that I have a problem with is address the point that I made.
not me. And I think oftentimes that happens in regards of athletes trying to make their point. Game manager is not a negative connotation. My definition of that managing player is a player who has the ability to make the right play at the right time. There's really only 3 to potentially 5 game changers in the NFL right now. Aaron Rodgers, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes. When I think about ultimate elite game managers, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, game changer and game manager is not something where I'm saying this person is not physically capable of making some great plays. I'm not saying that. A game changer is a truck. A game manager is a trailer. A truck pulls a team together and pulls and is the reason why this team is having success. A game manager is merely a trailer that's attached to something to make it go. When I see a guy like Brock Purdy, yes, did he make hell of a throws? Yes. Is he making elite decisions? Yes. But he's putting it in guys like Deebo Samuels and Christian. Like that's the point.
So he's talking about all these.
All right. So that was from Cam Newton's his TikTok. You know, I'm pretty new to TikTok. My nephews, they in the younger generation. I'm 40 and got the grades coming in, so they got to put me on to different things, and they remind me of my old man shortcomings in my brain a lot. So first and foremost, you know, for the culture, for me, when it comes to the backlash side of what he got, I'm not sure if you all really seen like that clip from her saying that he tweeting from the basement as if he is the former MVP, and Dominique Foxworthy, who actually is Bears Twitter's biggest enemy from last year. They was getting at him for all his takes on Justin Fields and the Bears and things of that nature. Some of the stuff he actually turned out to be right, because that team last year was trash. But a lot of people like Skip Bayless and others were saying stuff like, you know, he doesn't have the right to call them game managers. He's washed. He's just mad because he's sitting on the bench. He's just rattling off stuff because he has a mic or whatever. And so me personally, for the culture, and I know your brother, your older brother, Keenan, Cam was everything to him. Like, I don't know if you remember that stage of his life, but Cam was everything to Keenan. I don't know about you, Vic. I think you had a plethora of different teams as well. But Cam, to me, was the culture. You know what I'm saying? So when he speaks on things, he is coming from an MVP side of thought. And some of what he said, I didn't really agree with, like kind of like a game manager is attached to something. That was a negative connotation back in the day. But then you list someone like Dak, that to me, he kind of does take that team up, because before CD and some of the other additions, he did pretty well his rookie year. He had a 4,000 yard season that first year. So, you know, he was pretty good. So what, Vic, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts of a game manager versus a game changer, and how do you feel about his comments in the backlash?
Basically, what I would say is, for me, there's both things are good. I mean, there's are plenty of game managers that have won Super Bowls. You probably can count more game managers that have won Super Bowls on your hand than you can game changers anyway. When you think of game changers, you think of the Michael Vicks, the Cam Newtons, people that actually are described as more athletic quarterbacks that can do the job on the run as well. While the game managers are the guys that have really good receivers. You know, you can say this a lot about Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. They have a lot of great receivers throughout their career. And so that means, like you said, you're not driving the train. You're not driving the train. You're just on the ride, and you're just making sure everything else is cool on the back end. And that's a lot of quarterbacks. You think about Peyton Manning when you actually won that Super Bowl with the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos receiver core was lit. Like everybody, Wes Welker, what is it? Demaryius Thomas, like Jordy Nelson, like those dudes was killing it for him. So game managers is not a bad thing. It just means that you had a good GM. They put a good team around you. So I'm not mad at his comments. I'm mad at the hate that he's getting because he is a former MVP. But I do understand he has been begging to get in the league for the last year and a half. So it's like I can understand people's reaction. Just like you were saying, like, please, I'm better than 32 other guys. If somebody please pick me up. So I'm not mad at everybody's reaction because you was asked for a job.
Right. And Vic, to your point, even what was that 2017 when the Eagles won? Your Eagles won. It was the last
Nick Foles. Who's just now? Don't get wrong. He had a moment in his career where he was gunslinging, but he wasn't gunslinging at that time. At that time, that defense was great. He had a good running team, and all he had to do was hit slants and an occasional deep ball, which he barely had to do. So yeah, the Eagles. Now, granted, Carson Wentz was killing it before him, so that's really what got us there. But to actually win the Super Bowl, we didn't need nothing special.
Right that way. It was right there. Like but as a game manager, that's the benefit because you just need to manage the game. We've gotten you here. We just need to be able to put in somebody that we can say, okay, you're not gonna make silly, costly turnovers and decisions that can hurt us in a predicament. Yeah. So that's the benefit of a game manager, and in some ways, that's the negative and a hurt of a game changer. Because personally, Chicago Bears, Justin Fields, we have a game changer style type quarterback. And I don't want to say sadly, but today's new age of football, we are looking for those game changers. I spoke on this before, talking about the Tyreek Hills and the Micah Parsons. Everyone's looking, and then if you have that at the quarterback position, the Pat Mahomes, Kansas City is still a contending team right now, solely because of Pat Mahomes. Yeah. It's not a dude on their field that I could go and make a bet on. I will go make a bet on to say they're going to get 50 yards. There's not one that I could do that and be like, I mean, Rice, but he still is not even a guaranteed number one. So it's like, basically going back to what Uncle said, I think it's just a hate for Cam Newton. Because in a sense, this statement helps him. As Vic was saying, because he was saying, I'm better than 30 of these two quarterbacks y'all think is, good and out there. Especially with the rate that quarterbacks is dropping right now in the NFL. Is, to me, what I like is I feel like with the rate of the quarterbacks dropping, and these Cam Newtons, these Colin Kaepernicks, these RG3, consider old quarterbacks, they're going to be able to have durability and longevity at the quarterback position. Because most NFL teams, you got one to maybe two quarterbacks. You're not going to be able to get rid of those Cam Newtons so quick. You're not going to look at Joe Flacco with the Browns. They really don't want to keep Joe Flacco. But the dude then threw for like 300 yards in 2 back-to-back weeks. You like, okay, I got nothing to do but accept the fact that as a team, we got to be able to value this quarterback position a little bit more than what we're doing of always looking for that game changer. I love that we have a Tyson Badgett in the backup. Let's keep him. And then they both young, so they learn and they grow and they experience together. And it keeps them competing too. So that keeps the development of your quarterback position. So I think it's just hate that they got for Cam Newton, and I'm a big Cam Newton fan. Listen, so I'm with him. He MVP, Heisman winning trophy winner, and he won a national championship. So like, put some respect on him. He's standing on business.
Absolutely, I agree. And it was kind of weird because it just seems like the guys like Cam Newton, the pivot guys, and things like that. Ryan Clark, he gets on a lot of shows, and but some of the others, they don't get that respect to be called on the show for their opinions and things like that, unless it's like a Shannon Sharp or Stephen A. Smith, right? So when it comes to Cam, I already feel like he was kind of being blackballed and pushed out of the NFL.
Oh, yeah.
And now that they see him, and actually our culture growing, our retired players or players that aren't on rosters, or they, like Ryan Clark said, they feel like they can't play anymore or don't want them to play anymore. They push them off, and they can't even get into the media sector and give their opinion, even though they played it. And these are media people that are probably like 5'7", 5'8", 160. Juju and Vic, they played football. Imagine somebody telling you you can't talk football, and you was out there in the gridiron getting
Oh
great.
man, doing it, that's the best insight that you could ever get in the game of football is getting it from the source. Like it would be crazy to get it from the reporter on the sideline. Like, teach me how to play football. Like, yeah, help me out. What's this called? That's the worst person you go. They just here to talk about some drama. Get on the field. That's how you experience.
That's the only way they can keep their jobs up.
Right.
You have to think about it like this. Imagine if people started actually getting fed up with people who couldn't play opinion, and all the former athletes took over media. They would never want that. So that's the reason why they discredit them for not
everything. They hate when an athlete gets.
You can't play no more. So since you can't play no more, you can't talk.
Yeah, they almost discredit you, and they've tried to do it to like even Draymond Green to not too far away. But with his podcast, and sometimes Draymond just probably do need to just be quiet and go sit down somewhere. But I like the fact that he takes control of the narrative. Like take control of the narrative and like use that as a benefit to yourself and your name.
Exactly.
And stop punching people in the face too. Just cut that.
I think he threw a haymaker with that comeback. That video was beautiful. He was as articulate as I strive to be. Like I don't really like that show that I think it's Emmanuel Ocho or one of the Ocho brothers.
Speak.
Yeah, I don't really like some of they take, but I love how, and I tell my wife all the time, y'all auntie, I tell her, like, and I show him video, he's so articulate when he gives his points. You like, if you ain't really know football, you probably wouldn't like disagree with 100% of what he said because he's so good at it. And Cam, he didn't come angry, he didn't come emotional. He came at me like the poke from the base. So, I just wanted to talk about that and get y'all feelings on that. Great takes from both of you all, and some of the things that you all said, I didn't even think of myself. So great points. Jeez, like I've been thinking about that all week.
But it's like that with the NFL this year. I definitely feel like with the play of the quarterback position is a game-changing position, and to see how vulnerable in the way that the league has these quarterbacks.
How much they got to pay the quarterbacks now.
Yeah, so it makes that position
very paying you this much. You got to run a little bit. You got to put a little help
because they're not paying running back.
Yeah, they're not paying the running back. So all the quarterback getting all the money. So if I'm gonna give you $200 million or whatever, man, you gonna have to. Man, you better give me 500 plus yards rushing this season. If you don't, man, we're gonna think about not giving you this money. Look how they're treating Daniel Jones now. You think Daniel Jones would have got that money if he didn't put a little pep in his step when he get close to the red zone? No.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, we got Shorty in the chat. We got Swift in the chat. Thanks, Swift, for joining the chat. Thanks, BCP, you guys, for coming into the chat. We got Shorty and Foster coming on in a little bit. Bears Media Co. That's Brent. I'll show you all him on Twitter. He has a great Twitter, Instagram, all type of different things. His videos are awesome. Hopefully we can have him on later. Swift said it was too early for him today. This is my nephew's idea, so they got me up early. That lets you know they was, like Juju said a little while ago, standing on business. Yeah. They was like, let's get this cracking. So we appreciate you all joining. Those are some great, huge accounts. Swift, BCP, great guys. But we're going to bring on Shorty and Foster from Bears Country Pod. I know I like to use acronyms and stuff a lot, so let me make sure if you're watching this and when you watch this, check out Bears Country Podcast on YouTube. I'll bring them in now so that we can get into Bears discussions. We're going to start off with the Bears Lions positive. So let me bring that banner up real quick before they come in. And I'll bring Shorty and Foster from Bears Country Podcast, who Foster actually joined us on our first actual live stream, which my nephew Vic kicked ass on the production side, had us going for 3 fucking hours. He did this thing with like maybe 12 hours worth of knowing what, like, I just asked him, hey, can you look at this? And I barely got to talk to him. He went through the StreamYard stuff, because I see Shorty talking stuff about us being rookies because we had the ice still going in the background.
Don't
But
worry,
that's
Bill.
my fault. That's definitely not him. That's me, the old man that doesn't really know what I'm doing too much. But what's up, Shorty and Foster? Let everybody know where they can find you all. Shorty, go ahead first.
Bears Country Productions. We've got a bunch of shows over there. Bears Country Podcast is one of them that Foster and I do with PJ and Walt on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. We also do a Monday night show, Last Call at Hallis Hall. And we got the British Bears show coming up now on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So check that out. On Twitter, it's at Bears Country Pod. So thanks for having us, guys. I wanted to just point out one real quick thing. You know what a blue Sox hat is, right? It's called a Cubs hat.
Oh! Shot fired from Shorty to Vic.
You know, I didn't even think about it until you said it now. Now this hat's got to burn now. Just got to go.
You just ruined it.
I'm going to just take it to the back. As soon as this live is over, I'm going to take it to the backyard and just gasoline.
Retirement ceremony.
Yeah, because no, thank you. No.
But cheers, guys. Thanks for having us on, though. Seriously.
Thanks for joining. Foster.
Awesome. Hey, I want to say great production on that first show, man. Awesome show, dude. I went back and watched a bunch of it, and then all the clips you guys put out. You keep the White Sox hat blue. It doesn't matter, man. You follow the team you follow and the way you want to follow. Be careful working with old guys, man. We get tired and crotchety, so just be patient with Bill, man. He's a good guy. He'll be there. You know this.
Yeah, definitely.
As Shorty mentioned, you can find us at Bears Country Productions. Or Bears Country Pod is the Thursday night show. We also got a new show out. I think this is our third episode coming up of the post game report.
I forgot about that.
Because we do that at like 11 o'clock on a Sunday night when everybody's kind of down. And it's a new show. Again, you know, we're just trying to do the same thing you guys are doing. We're trying to give everybody information, give them our point of views, let them make theirs without having a big hassle about it, as you guys had talked about all this crap on Twitter with get rid of Fields, man. Keep Fields, take the haul, and run.
Absolutely.
The smartest thing you could do, and Poles is the guy, man. PGTS, because Poles got this shit.
Hey.
The minute they brought him on board, man, I just felt something. I've only said this 3 times in the last 50 years. This team and this group is special. I've only said that 2 other times, and that was in the early 2000s, and of course in like 1984, man, when we played the Raiders in the toughest game I've ever seen in my life, and we beat them. That was the game where McMahon was pissing blood at halftime because they lacerated his kidney.
Yeah.
So this is the 3rd time I'm going to say this in my lifetime, and that's 50 years as a Bears fan, and I've seen almost every game except for in the early 70s or the mid 70s, if they didn't sell out Soldier Field, I think they blacked out 2 games, one in 77 and one in 78. And then the Bears just started buying the tickets because they were losing the TV revenue. But again, this is the 3rd time I'm going to say this. This team is special. So keep Justin, man. And I think we got a great chance of winning this game today with Cleveland being banged up. If Getsy can keep his foot, if Getsy can keep this offense around the strengths of Fields and the other players you got around him, because now we've got talent. We didn't have that a year ago. So thanks for having me on too, man.
Oh, absolutely. And we're going to get into all those things and more. You've answered a little bit of a few of the questions, so we're going to come back to you for a little bit more of that in regards to Fields, as well as some decisions that should be made later on for 2024. So today I just want to go through a little recap of the Bears versus Lions game. We got the victory, finally pulled it out. The defense stepped up for 48 minutes. I'm thinking basketball. I'm in my Bulls mind last night because they didn't do it for doggone 48 minutes because they let Jimmy hit the game winner. But for 60 minutes, the defense played well. The offense played well. There was no turnovers. So those are my positives. So let me talk to you, Juju, first, and then we'll go to the guys over at BCP. What were some of the positives that you liked from that game, from whatever side of the ball, offense or defense.
Yes. Obviously, Bears win is always going to end up in a good review for me. I don't care how y'all get it done. Just get it done. The Vikings game, as long as we win. But it was a good game. What I feel like they learned is I feel like they took what worked against the Lions the first time and saw where they switched it up and where it went wrong. And they said, okay, like, let's just ride the wave. And they continue to push the ball, play a full football game is what I've spoken to, is what I have seen about the overall thing of the Chicago Bears is they now learn how to play a full 4 quarters of a football game. So that's excellent to see. But definitely and then the progression of the defense. I feel like we have a young defense, and even though we kind of get a lot of new pieces to come in here, like these boys is rowdy. And they really just trying to make a statement for all of them. Because we got a lot of dudes who, it's like, you towards the end of your contract, or you coming up on the contract, like, what we going to do with you? And as much as I would love to keep a lot of these defensive dudes, I'm not in the office. And we'll let go of Roquan Smith, who can go and be a top linebacker. But I like how the Bears keep that young defense that, you know, we want to stay young. We don't really want to break the bank. But when they get those guys in there and they can get those guys to play on the defensive side of the ball, man, I think our defense is kind of, as much as I want our offense to lead the Chicago Bears, I think we might start heading back to that defensive type heavy. We beat teams because we keep them under 24 points. And if you let Justin Fields get going, that's where we could just demolish you. That's just the hammer on the nail. So that's definitely my positives for that game to sum it up. But I just hope that we continue to ride this way, because one thing the Bears will do is call a few good weeks of game plan for Justin Fields, and then we play a Cleveland Browns, and then like the whole game plan just changed. We going back to doing 20 screens. Like, come on. What worked last week, do it the next week. Like, if I'm a coach, I'm going to do what works until you force me to have to switch it up. And until that point, just stay with what worked for Justin Fields, because when he get going, He almost unstoppable.
Right. So,
can I
Shorty,
piggyback off of that?
Shorty, I was going to pass it to you for your positives from the Lions game. What did you take from that game?
I like a lot of what you just said. It was a game that they figured out how to win. They figured out how to win the previous game against the Vikings, just squeaking that out at the end. Vil, you said it perfectly when you were on our show with us. He put his entire body into that final throw, and that got us into field goal range. Then you see the next game against the Lions, they put together a complete game, and we got to that moment, right, where you start to feel, oh crap, here comes the loss, right? And they stopped him. They stopped it from the loss from happening. Mm-hmm. They're starting to learn how to win. That's huge, because, you know, losing breeds losing and winning breeds winning. Confidence is built from wins. And if they can find the win in a tough game like that and come out with a convincing win against the Lions, I think that's going to just move this team forward with their psyche. It's going to help their psyche incredibly. I think their confidence is up now. I think they're figuring out how to win. And I think that bodes well for this week, for today.
Awesome. Well said. So to go off of that, I want to go to Vic and then Shorty on this one. The Bears won back-to-back games for the first time in Eberflus's era. I think we discussed that on your show over at BCP. Mm-hmm. So last Sunday's win gave him his second division win in back-to-back weeks. So has this coaching staff, Vic, changed your mind? You had made a great point on our first live stream episode, and I want you to kind of go into that. But go ahead.
See, me, I haven't been as hard on the coaching staff as I think most Bears fans are. I believe if you have a new quarterback, consistent change is never good. You know, if he gets drafted, there's one coach. All right, first year starting, there's another coach. All right, you finally get a groove in the NFL. Oh, you got another coach. And the offense is going to keep changing, and the defense is going to keep changing. Like, it's never going to be the same from one transition to the next. So I believe that Bears fans and the front office should be a little patient, even down to, I'm starting to say, Getsy. Like, hey, he's figuring it out. Now, unless he shows us something before the season is over where he really just messes up all over again and looks like he doesn't know what he's doing, then I would say, okay, we have a problem. But they're shaping up to the talent that they have, and they're just going to continue to add more talent. So I believe that I would be patient. I would let them ride it out for the rest of the year. If we can get, a better record towards the end of the season, or even make the playoffs, which is not impossible. I mean, it's doable. You're only one game back now. And I mean, Packers don't have the easiest schedule coming up either. So it's very possible to end up in the playoffs as well as still. So if they make the playoffs, I say keep them. Give them an off season, put it together, draft you a certain receiver if he comes out. Hey, pay Mooney, because you're going to eventually have to pay Mooney, or if you don't have to pay Mooney, now you got drafted that receiver. Mm-hmm. So I say it looks good for the coaching staff if they produce and show that they got some things that they can work with. If they don't, and it just flops, this game is horrible that comes up, then I would say, hey, somebody, maybe not everybody, but somebody's got to go.
If they lose the next 4 games in a row, then I think that's something to consider. But if they win one more game, they're going to double their win total from last year. So is that something that you want to give up on all that quickly? To your point, you don't want to keep starting over, including Getsy. You don't want Justin Fields learning another offense. Exactly. Ultimately, you want this to work out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's get Foster's thoughts on that.
Absolutely, man. I started talking about this 3 weeks ago. I think I brought it up on your first live stream. There was polls could specifically state this, especially if we win 3 out of these next 4 games, which the guys in Vegas that I've talked to already are saying, oh, stay away from this Browns game, but bet on the Bears the next 3. So, I mean, that's a Vegas take. But polls could state this so simply. If this team progresses a little bit each week, these last few weeks here, there's no reason to break this team up. Everybody's coming back. This is a young team with a second-year head coach, a second-year offensive coordinator. Most of these guys are on the field are in their second or third year. How many veterans do we really have playing every down? So it's a young team with a young coaching staff, not necessarily in age, but they're a young coaching staff as first-timers. So if it progresses well enough and we win 7 or 8 games, you got to have hope for the future that this team, like polls, I would state, this team's going to grow together. They started out going through all this crap together. They're going to go through it together, and they're going to win together. And then I wanted to go back real quick because you guys were asking me about the positives and great takes all the way around. The one thing that I want to definitely stress is offensively and defensively, we made second half adjustments, which they haven't really done all year. People forget about it. There was a point in that game where Detroit was doing a little thing and they were kind of shutting down the Bears offense a little bit. And we made those adjustments at halftime and came out and played the way that a real NFL team plays, that's capable of making adjustments and showing it on the field. They weren't major adjustments, but go back and look at that second quarter, what was going on there in the second quarter, and then the way we came out in the third quarter. So I'll go back to the coaching staff. I just think I can't make a full assessment yet. It's like you said, dude, not Juju, because I can't remember the names. But unless Fields and Getsy drop off the face of the earth, there'd be no reason to not bring them back, because I could see that we could easily win 2 of these games. Today's going to be the biggest test for this team. Go ahead, Shorty.
I was just going to say that would be the biggest miracle if Getsy survives this.
It would be, but it could happen. I've said it. I've
You
said
keep
it,
moving the
preparing
ball. I
people
don't see why it
because
can't happen. You know, I think people, like I used the comparison last week, the Cincinnati Bengals, they kept that core together. Zach Taylor did not have a good record for them first 3 years. Then they're going to the Super Bowl. Nobody's been saying, oh, he's on the hot seat. You've never even heard that rumor out there. But so I think you can stick it out with this team. You think you can do the exact same thing that you did with Cincinnati with this Bear squad.
and
And
Browning
then
stepped in,
definitely
and you know what? Doesn't Cincinnati with Browning kind of look like Cincinnati?
Yeah,
Like
they
there's
do.
no, you know,
No
I mean,
chance.
he just stepped right into that offense because he's been studying it all year. Stepped right into that offense and continued the trend. Is he throwing for 320 a game and 2 or 3 touchdowns every game? I think since he's come in. Don't quote me on the stats, but go back and look at the numbers. So
Really close.
that's huge when it comes to coaching. Excellent point.
Yeah, Drew, you was
Yeah.
about
No, and I was just gonna finish off on one statement. The benefit of Luke Getsy is also in the sense that a lot of the Bears players are having career busting years. Justin Fields is on track to have a crazy year. DJ Moore has already surpassed what he's done in at the Panthers. Cole Kmet is busting out to have a crazy. He's gonna be a top tight end next year. Near those Travis Kelce's, which is great for us because it just shows how many weapons that we have on the Bears. And if Luke Getsy can continue to use these weapons that you have, your job is really easy. Is play with the talent that you have and just don't be an idiot and try to call, a whole different adjustment to play it safe. No, you have game changers all over the field. The stats prove it. Use them.
Yeah. And that is a great segue to our next point. So we had 2 huge additions in the last, year and a half, I guess, or off season to now, with the addition of DJ Moore, as well as the big swing mid-season trade deadline acquisition. Am I saying that right? Acquisition.
Yeah.
Of Montez Sweat. So I was sitting and thinking, they've both been huge for both sides of the ball. So as the banner says, DJ Moore had 0 catches. This is what he can do and what he can bring when you actually make adjustments like Foster said. And then the second half, 6 for 68 in the TD. Granted, he had the rushing touchdown on the first drive. So it's not like he was silent or useless. But then Montez Sweat showed up in that game, which he shows up in every game pretty much. Even if it's not a sack, it's a pressure, it's a quarterback hit, it's getting his hands up. Because what is he, 6'6", whatever. And long arms, like Swifty talks about the prototype that Ryan Poles likes in his defensive ends and his offensive linemen, long, tall paws, type of guys. So my question, and Juju, you can start this one off. Who do you think has been the biggest addition to the Bears?
Hands down, DJ Moore. And no disrespect to Sweat, because I think Sweat is a great asset of what he brings to our defense and the pressure and not even the pressure that he solely brings, but how his production generates more out of the rest of our defense. But I feel like basically in the stat that you said in the first half, he had 0 receiving yards. But I'm pretty sure he still had a touchdown in that first half. Hold on. He just became a running back? Paul. He said, forget it. I'm not running a route today, coach. Hand me the ball off. I'm going to go get us a touchdown this way because they're going to play me if I go run around. And then guess what he did? He came out the second half and just tore it up. He said, okay, I'm done playing running back. I'm about to go run some routes because I'm just tired of running and all these motions back across the field. So let me just line up one-on-one. So in the sense of what I spoke of on the last show, let's use DJ Moore as teams use the Tyreek Hills, the Deebo Samuels. You have a significant athlete on your team and a weapon that why would you not use to your advantage? Everyone always says, get the ball in the hands of your best player on the team. No disrespect to Justin Fields. We love you here in Chicago. get the ball to DJ Moore. Get the ball to DJ Moore. So DJ Moore is easily the better pickup because he makes our offense and what we can bring offensively to the field so much better amongst a lot of those elite offenses that have high production. That's what we are asking for in Chicago right now, isn't it? To be one of those elite offenses with one of those great quarterbacks and good wide receivers, because we've never had it. You got it.
Oh, we've had it like twice, flash in the ends, but yeah.
Never long term.
So, Shorty, what do you think? DJ Moore or Sweat? And I know a lot of people look at it and say, DJ Moore has been here since the beginning of the year. It's been there the offseason and was able to work with Justin Fields to help him grow as a quarterback. So why don't we just say over the last 5 games since Sweat has gotten here, who do you think is the biggest addition or the biggest catalyst to our winning ways?
I see what you're trying to do here. You're trying to get someone to say Sweat. I get it.
No, I don't think so either. But
I mean, if you're talking about the last 5 games, I mean, look at what's happened since they traded for Sweat. Yannick had 2 of his 4 sacks. Sucks he's out now, but 2 of his 4 sacks came after the Sweat trade. 2 of the 4 interceptions for Jalen Johnson came after the Sweat trade. Sweat himself has 3.5 sacks since joining the Bears. Justin Jones has I think 2.5 sacks since that trade. I don't know. It's hard to make. You can make a case for both. I was gonna fake flip a coin, and but I mean, DJ obviously has been a huge addition to this team. He's already over 1,000 yards receiving. So I think that you have to go with DJ as being the biggest addition to this team. But man, Sweat he's right behind him. I mean, in the last 5 games alone shows it. The defense has picked up their game, whether that's Phil Snow or Matt Eberflus or a combination of all 3. He's still doing a good job. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Well said. So I'll move to the next topic. I'll go to Vic on this one and then Foster. So last year, and I know me, you, Foster, Shorty, as well as Swift and Brent out there, I see him in the chat, as well as others that are in the chat that have podcasts. We all know and we all have heard them discuss from last year, I would say, when the first 2 draft picks were used on DBs Brisker and Kyler Gordon, the collective groan from the Bears fans on social media, as well as probably some of us, Swifty actually is one of the best breakdown people ever, and the draft, his draft breakdowns and specials are awesome. So I was kind of able to cheat, if you will, by keeping up with him before I became a podcaster and getting a kind of a friendship just through Twitter with him and not even jumping on his podcast and kind of getting to know the draft by watching his videos. So he was all for Brisker as well as Kyler Gordon. The fans were all heavy on Pickens. Mr. didn't block and on that touchdown last night. I know y'all seen that video being shown with him.
Why everybody acting surprised about that? Like they are not the first receivers to do that. Like there's been a handful of receivers that they've been pointed out about it this year, but it's like, yeah, I've played football. I played receiver. I've stopped blocking when I didn't know the ball was coming my way, and then I just look and be like, "Oh man, the ball's right here." Like I've done that, so I know for sure that it happened plenty of times. Oh yeah, because they probably cut the opposite side of the field, and you thinking the play is going the opposite side, and you just like, all right, I just needed to run a little bit to fake him out, and then you just stand there. And the defender's distracted, but then you look and it's like the ball's right here. They're like, hey, it happens. It happens. I guarantee you can go back a very long way and can look and see receivers not blocking or moving out the way. Because A lot of times when receivers block and they're blocking and they don't know where the ball is, you get in the way anyway.
Right.
So I'm not surprised. People are being way too hard on George Pickens on that situation. But when I'm for the question though, I'll say that I'm not mad that they went defense because the defense was struggling. The defense was struggling, and you needed some game changers. And it's very clear, and it's been clear since they first started that you can see the potential in what they could be. Jaquan Brisker, like, man, you talking about prototype, a strong safety. There's not a lot of guys like him in the league. Like, it's starting to slowly be a resurgence, but for the last few years, Cam Chancellor was like the last dude that was really doing what Jaquan Brisker is doing. Being big enough to where you basically can play linebacker but can still cover. Like, it is rare. So I'm not mad at them doing the pick. They've clearly been showing that this has been very good for the Bears because they are a big part of this defense. And if one of them are out, Kyler Gordon is out, you can tell. You can tell and be like, oh man, who's this guy inside for him? And yeah. So I will say we are very fortunate to have gotten them with those picks. They are deserving to those picks. Can I see the Bears using one of those receivers that they could have drafted? Yeah, but I'm not mad at the fact that they didn't. You know, George Pickens has made some hell of a catches with the horrible quarterback play over there. Mm-hmm. So imagine what he would have been able to do with Justin Fields. So I'm not mad. I'm not mad at you one way or another. It's good for us if you draft the other way. It's good for us if you didn't. Like it's great either way.
We might not have got the first pick to end up getting DJ Moore if it wasn't for that. So
yeah. So what I'll say, and then I'll go to Foster. Just watching, and I put it in the banner. Jaquan Brisker is a missile at times. Like, he just does not care. Like, he's reckless. Like, I think one time early in the season and even last year, he went in, I think in the San Francisco game last year, it's like helmet on the ball. And sometimes it's not good because he's been knocked out of some games too.
But he give you that hint that remind you of football.
Yeah.
You be, woo!
Yeah,
so I say Cam Chancellor is a guy hit on him. Yeah,
and so Brisker having those 17 tackles last week kind of really woke us back up. A lot of people, have been down on Brisker because he's so up and down. Not as up and down as Eddie Jackson, who I don't know what's going on with that, but I get it. He's
out of here.
Right.
You got to pay him. Get that man out of here. Man, I would take a pick. I would take a player. I would take it. Man, get him out of here, especially for what he does. He gets paid too much for not producing enough, man. Yeah. Like, I get it. You had a very strong moment earlier on when we had a really good defense. I give you that. But the man's got to go at this point. Like, he's not doing nothing beneficial for us.
Long in the tooth.
He give us like one interception. It's like, oh, he's back. And then he get burnt, and then be like, all right, you got deep thirds, man. Nobody behind you. You played football before, as a safety, if you got deep thirds or if it's a corner, nobody behind you. And it seems like every time somebody is behind him.
He's looking like this.
Yeah, and it'd be like,
in the play.
Yeah, and it'd be like, wait, confusion.
Behind their like right there.
And then I can tell, like, I've been in the corner where it's like you thought you had some help. And then somebody get a catch on you. You like, where was the help? Who's over top?
You the help.
Yeah.
And Kyler Gordon, that was another one because they was like, well, if you took that one, you should have did a receiver at the other side. And some of those second round wide receivers didn't pan out anyway, or they're at least slow to pan out. Sky Moore, Tyquan Thornton for New England. The list goes on. They talk about Velus Jones, but those guys are pretty irrelevant as well. But Kyler Gordon, to me, I think got a lot of heat because he wasn't the other side of Jalen Johnson. Like, he wasn't. He didn't grab that position. He didn't solidify the outside corner. And everybody looks at outside corner as if inside corner or slot is nothing because they're not on the field all the time because they're either in nickel situations. But, like, even still, to me, a nickel, like, you guys played the game.
What?
To me, the nickel is the hardest position.
You
got all this space. and you might have to guard Travis Kelce,
Yeah.
Derrick Henry coming out,
Yeah.
bearing down on a pass or just coming outside on a toss. You're almost the hybrid linebacker,
yeah.
right? So, and then you are in all that open space with Cooper Kupp, the one of the best
I think that's the reason why. It's because the league has changed. You got to think about our top receivers before were all wide.
Oh yeah, all wide.
They're out at the edge. So now it's starting to see the game change where all of your top receivers are all on the inside.
And
Tyreek Hill is going to be on the inside. Jalen Wild, that's the reason why they're so good, is because you can switch them on the inside. You got Kansas City, like you said, Travis Kelce. Everybody is on the inside that's good now. The outside receiver is not Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham has his best moments when he can play at that slot position. He can just break down whoever's there. Don't do no zone, because if you do a zone, I'm gonna just pick the open area. If you do man, you're too slow, because 9 times out of 10 you're a linebacker or a strong safety. So no. So I think if the league didn't change and make the star receiver on the inside, then maybe you can use that argument that our nickel corner is not valuable. But it's like, no, the nickel corner at this point, if you watch Miami's defense, Jalen Ramsey at this point, he just follows.
Yeah.
He just follows. He just follows. If I gotta be the nickel, I gotta be the nickel. If I gotta be outside, I gotta be outside. So you kind of need that corner that's going to be able to do anything. Denzel Ward is another. We're gonna play. Is somebody who will guard the slot. He'll be on DJ Moore a lot.
Yeah. So Foster, what are your thoughts on that? I know you experienced that on Twitter as well, or at least in you guys' podcast episodes last year. What are your thoughts on Jaquan Brisker and Kyler Gordon and those picks from last year?
Hey, I'm going to say this, man. It's the day of the first round, right? Immediately after that, I went and did my official Bears mock for this draft. And my first 2 picks were Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker. My third pick was Christian Watson. He was gone already. I would have traded back probably in the third to get Romeo Doubs, but that's just my opinion. Look, these guys are in their second year, both of them. There's still so much room to grow. They've had their ups and downs, but when you look at the body of work as a whole, you've got to be grateful that Poles started where he did. He kind of was forced into that by the way the draft fell. Because those were the 2 best athletes on the board at the time of the pick. We could talk about the wide receivers just like you're talking about. Shorty brought it up. That might have changed the outcome for the following. It would have changed the outcome for the next 2 years of picks. But I won't even go that route. I just see this as a positive for the Bears. These guys are in their second year, man. Remember Jalen Johnson when he came into the league and how he got thrown in right away across from Fuller? Look where the guy's at now. He's a second-round pick in his 4th season, looking for huge money, and he's going to get it. I see both these guys on the up. We'll have that problem at some point in time. Hopefully, they continue their growth and progression, and it's a good problem to have, man. It's a good problem to have. So again, man, PGT, Poles got this. I love all the moves the guys makes, even the ones I've disagreed with, because he's honestly out there trying to do exactly what he said. He's going to build this team through the draft so that, and this was something I didn't get to talk about earlier. You build the team so that even a game manager can take it to a Super Bowl. Because then if you've got a better quarterback, you win the Super Bowl. Look at the guy we're playing against today, Flacco. I mean, and it just, I'll get off it because the Brisker and Gordon thing, again, they've had their ups and downs. We've all seen it. It's been all over the media when they've had problems. On the whole, we have to be happy with this tandem that he drafted that first draft. Next year should be the complete turning point for them. Season 3. Go back and look at the numbers for defensive backs. They're not even done with season 2, and look where they're at. So,
aside from injuries, I mean, they played great.
That's what I was going to say.
Jaquan Brisker led the team in
injuries,
sacks last year. Brisker did.
Right.
17 tackles as a strong safety last week. What? They can stay healthy.
That's amazing. And the sacks was you don't really want that. That shows how bad we were last year when the defensive backs got to do that. So But how complain? I want to hear negatives. Give me negatives, all the negatives you can about these guys. There you go. Your hands are up. You could nitpick a play or two, but on the whole, Poles again is done right. He's done right by picking, starting that defensive backfield the way it is.
I was ecstatic at those two.
We need more help there. We need a little more help there, man.
Mm-hmm.
We need some more depth. See,
I was on Twitter yesterday, and I think this was well after I even thought about this question. And I always post Kyler Gordon. Swift knows how it is. If his mom sees you tweet about him positively, she retweets it. So I kind of learned that players' moms love retweeting. Larry Borum's mom. Who, if you tweet negatively, she will be right at your post telling you to shut it down. Like, if y'all have do not tweet about Larry Borum, because his mom will get you. But Miss Gordon, she's always, if she sees something positive about her boy, she definitely will retweet, and she loves her son, and he's a great guy. I think he even did a cameo for Swift last year when he was drafted.
Yeah,
for his show.
I saw it. That's awesome.
Yeah, right. But the guy was saying, it was a troll, obviously, but he trolls on all of our accounts. I don't even think I pulled up the tweet because it's not worth giving him that recognition. But he was basically saying we wasted the pick on him. And I'm like, he was like, we would be 7-6 if it wasn't for him in the D line. I'm like, I can agree on the D line, but we were 0-4 the first month, and he missed the whole first month. Like, he was out with a broken hand, I believe, from the Packers game on. And then when he came back, we were 1-4, and now we're 5-8. So since then, the defense has improved. He made the stop on T.J. Hawkinson versus the fourth down stop versus the Vikings. And as I put in this banner, he leads all slot corners in passer rating when targeted at 54.7. That sounds like improvement, as well as sounds like he's growing into one of the top slot corners. So how do you consider that a waste? Then people move the goalpost and they say, well, it was a second-round pick and he can't play outside corner. Who said he couldn't? I believe they used him there because he's so athletic, so nimble. I got a short that I put out because I was at the game. I'm up. It's the Raiders game, right? So I'm up in the nosebleeds, right? So I got to zoom in, you know what I'm saying, to get it. And that's no shot. My wife bought me the tickets, but, it was last minute. So, that was the only thing that was left. So it's not like she was.
You were there. That's all that matters.
I was in the building. I was in the building for that.
We were all there, actually.
Actually, right. And Nick had the tailgate too. So, but I'm recording and I'm zooming in on the tunnel on the intros, and he comes out, and like everybody's running out, hand clap. Y'all know how y'all do.
Yeah.
I played like 3 weeks, had a shin bone issue, and I was like, I got hit in the shin bone. I was like, I'm done. Dad was like, your grandpa was like, you got to keep going. I was like, nah. But like, back to basketball. But he came out, and I looked over at my wife and my cousins that were sitting there, and I was like, hey, so-and-so just came out, because she was asking who they were, my wife. And Kyler came out, and I happened to look back like this, and he came out and did this Spider-Man flip, like not the normal one he does, like at camp and stuff like that, and then he jumps up and does it. But he like off of 1 foot while he was running and flipped. And I was like, I seen it, but how you hold no camera, you don't know if it was in that. And I looked down, I went back to the video, and I caught it. And I'm like, bro, I'm making a video out of that, because that's crazy athleticism he just does it like effortlessly. So I could see the reason, and trying to cut it short, like I could see the reason why he was used as a slot corner, because you have to be nimble. You have to be able to have quick feet, quick decision, quick hips to flip back and forth. or to backpedal and come back in, break left, right, back and forth. So I don't think that it was that he couldn't. I think he was a better fit at that time because we didn't have somebody to handle that because we were getting ate up in those situations when slot corners would move out. Like Vic said, I think earlier, I think it was you who was saying, the outside receivers were the shit for a while. But even now, Justin Jefferson, Chase, and all these other guys, and I'm just trying to think of bigger receivers. The Chase isn't really a bigger receiver, but Justin Jefferson, he moves in the slot a ton. You know what I'm saying? And he's a taller receiver.
Yeah, he primarily slot. The only wides that are top of the league right now are kind of only like Hopkins still goes pretty wide. DK Metcalf, Cortland Sutton,
right?
Like those guys are the big, really big. They like 6'2" or over are normally the main wide guys. But now these receivers are being 5'11", 6 feet, and they on inside, and they $180, and they run a 4.2, 4.3.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that he's a like always or a boundary, like completely boundary all the time. I'm just saying like the size and the way they move around the formation. Like you said earlier, people move around the formation just to get that advantage in the slide or on both sides. So to me, that's why Kyler was moved there. And that's just my point on that.
Because didn't they originally draft him to play CB2, but it just turned out that he was like so damn good he could play both. So they're like, well, that's more important than this defense is the slot. We can get a CB2 anywhere.
I got to throw a sentence in here, guys, real quick. One sentence. You guys remember when they made the switch? There was tons of narrative. He can't play the slot corner. Put him back on the outside. And as time went on, it was like, oh, this guy's going to be a beast at slot. The greatest thing about Kyler, I think, is you can play him at either position and he's going to be successful. He needed time to grow in this position, man. So
absolutely,
that's a no lose pick in my eyes. It's all about growth and progression on it. I keep bringing it up because that's what has to happen for the whole team. But you guys remember the narrative, right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you can't, Kyler. Put him back on the outside. He's better on the outside. So if somebody's now saying that he can't play the outside, they need to go back and look at everything that's happened over the last 2 years before they make their decision, before they open their mouth and just start babbling shit.
For sure. So moving along to the next, I have a tweet that I've seen. A lot of times I like to pull tweets that I love, even some that bring conversation or interactions or make people think a little bit. So Tony the Pod Boss, I know a lot of us follow him as well as he follows us. He's a great guy. I don't always agree with everything he says, but he has awesome takes, but I don't agree with anything all the time anyway. So that's not really saying much. But he's an awesome dude. And I have a tweet that I'm going to pull up so you all can check it out. Let's see. So this goes into what Foster was saying earlier, and that's why I was trying to get you to save that for a little while later. He says, typically, I'm always mispronouncing words when I'm reading. That's that District 89 Roosevelt Elementary School in Maywood education. Anyway, typically a quarterback is fairly graded when you have the defense in place and you're losing with him. Then you have the convo on if you'd be winning more if you had that missing quarterback piece. You don't strip a team down, as the Bears did last year, then blame the quarterback for the issues, basically. I think the banner is blocking that, and I'll move that in a second. But that brings me to a few other points, and then we'll go back to Tony's point. So since the Bears technically reset the team last year by clearing the roster, trying to create picks and cap space for this year, totally stripped them down to nothing, to like dollar store cashier, offensive linemen, target cart pushers for wide receivers, four stringers right now are playing in the CFL or sitting on the couch waiting on an injury. And no disrespect, because I ain't never played football at a high level. So, but facts are facts. That team was trash. Or that if you're building around a quarterback that's young and going in the second year, that's not how you should do it if you really want to evaluate them. So to me, I posted a tweet saying, you know, and this was a long tweet, so I just put this part up just to open it. Justin Fields deserves the same reset. People don't want to admit it, and they'll use the financial benefit as a way to convince you that resetting the clock by drafting quarterback gives the GM and the head coaches more time. But why doesn't it give the quarterback that same time, especially if it happened going into his second year and the roster was stripped? So I had a follower. I try to show love to our followers too. Bill said, I've heard people say, I think he was talking about Dave Wanstead, by saying Wani, that Eberflus should get a pass for last year because no one could have won with that team. He's curious why the same thing doesn't apply to the quarterback. So just a few things to show you, and I hear you, nephew, so maybe I'll go to you first because I think you got a opposing point, but give me a second. I'll just go through this real quick. So I'm just going to show you the improvements, some of the improvements. So I tweeted out over the last five games, and these are the stats from over this last five, and I'll go back to it a second, but just take a look. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we'll go back to this. So over the last 5 games he's played, the Broncos, he was 28 for 35, 335 yards and 4 tuds. They blamed the fumble on him. The fumble, boom, he lost the game. It's on the quarterback. Yeah. I hate that logic. This dumb logic, especially when you're up 3 touchdowns. Blame him for the mistake, but don't say that he lost the game when he threw over 330, 28 for 35, was extremely efficient, 4 touchdowns. I could see if he was 128, 19 of 32, and 0 touchdowns or something like that, fumbled and then lost the game. So then the next one, we lost that game. So then the Commanders game, threw another 4 touchdowns, got the win, interception. No interceptions, right? Lions game, the next game, that's the third one. 26-14. I'm at the bar watching it with your mama, too. And we all like, And then somebody said, it's over. I said, wait. Y'all don't remember the Broncos game. Shh. Let's just relax. Let's just hope that we get it done. They didn't. Under 4 minutes left, what happened? Defense collapsed. We lose the game. They blame Justin again for fumbling with 30 seconds left. Okay, blame the fumble, but that's not the reason why we lost the game. And then the Vikings game, he struggles. Shorty, I mentioned to you, he put his whole body into that throw. Like you could tell, like his eyes opened up. He was like, I'm driving this team down, and got that completion, game-winning field goal, boom. Ate the Lions up in an efficient manner the last game and got the W with no turnover. I believe that 3-2 record over the last 5 should be 5-0 if the defense did their part, which they did last week. So, again, this is Justin Fields' first 17 and then last 17, or the most recent 17. Obviously, he had some injuries at the end of last year, as well as the injuries this year that kept him out. So these are just the complete, or at least the 17 games. I believe these include the 17 games he actually played, even the Vikings game where he got put out in the mid-game, as well as I think last year when he got put out mid-game. But drastic improvement, right? So, and that's over a season. That's 17 games, right? Now that we're playing 17, that's 3,000 yards plus another 1,200 in running. Like, bro, that's a record on the rushing yards, and still threw for 3K yards, 25 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and then had 8 other rushing TDs. So, again, here are those numbers over the last 5 with a 107.7 passer rating. I'm not understanding where people are saying he's not improving outside of the mistakes, some of the mistakes, maybe the fumbles, the ball security, maybe missing a receiver here or there, maybe not seeing the field as we want him to be Peyton Manning-esque or whatever you want to consider it. I don't know why people think Tyson Bagent would be much better because his numbers are pretty trash. He does better with getting the ball out short range and maybe intermediate, but I don't think he's the answer. He's a great backup. He can still grow into it. He's a rookie. I get that, yada, yada. But there is no reason, as Foster said, to move on with all of these improvements. So, Foster, I'll go to you on this one. Back to Tony the Pod Boss. Shout out to Tony the Pod. Hopefully you guys go out and follow him for more Bears stuff. But what do you think about this tweet from Tony the Pod Boss?
I actually saw this tweet when he put it out there, and I know I liked it. I gave him a heart on it, and I think I might have commented or sent another comment. I'm not. Go back and look, man, if you can.
No, I'm just teasing you.
No biggie. I don't know. But as far as this, and like the last sentence you got there, you don't strip a team down, then blame the quarterback for a horrible roster. Last year was just garbage. We know exactly what it was. And look, they still could have won 10 games last year if you go back and look at it with that crappy team. And why could they have won 10 games? Justin Fields is why.
Yeah.
And we all know this, yet everybody still is fighting this narrative. Oh, you got to draft Caleb Williams. Screw that. You don't need to draft Caleb Williams. This team has been built slowly over the last year. Those pieces you added, man. You guys are talking about Sweat and DJ Moore. Look at how many points the team has given up since Sweat was acquired. Just look, take that number, find it. I don't know what it is. But as far as the comment here, Tony's absolutely right in my eyes, man. Because you don't have anything to work with. How can you be effective? You know, you could take here. I'll go back to the game manager thing even. Because if you take a good quarterback and you surround him with great people, a great team, there's no doubt you can win. We've all seen it. We have something here with Justin's, and you know, maybe he is going to take a little longer to grow. But I think we're on the cusp of seeing him at his best in the future. It's coming, man. I think one other thing I want to throw in there with this, and then I'll stop. I'll let you go to the shorty, is I think those 4 weeks sitting on the bench really helped Fields. Got a lot of crap out of his head. He saw things from a completely different perspective that he's not used to sitting there and watching an offense play. And there might have been a thing or two he picked up from Bagent. Somebody was bitching about that a couple of weeks ago because I think Chris Collinsworth said it. But you can always learn something, man. I was young, and my dad, guys wouldn't show you stuff in the trades back in the day because they didn't want you to learn it and take their job. So my father told me this when I was young. You can steal as much information with your eyes as possible. Just make sure you put it to a good source and use it properly. That's part of the time sitting there. But, I mean, how can you argue with the numbers you even just put up? Let's throw out the numbers. Let's go back and just look at the plays one play at a time. Go look at the all 22. Every play Justin Fields has hit. Has he missed guys wide open? Yeah. Who hasn't? I saw Garoppolo do it against the Lions 4 times in a row. I was screaming for him to throw the ball. So every quarterback's going to do it, man. I don't care if you're a seasoned pro or a rookie. They're going to make certain mistakes, man. We're human beings. We're all going to make the mistakes. There's no way I'm getting rid of this guy if I'm Poles. Like I said, unless he falls completely off the face of the earth the rest of the season, man. And I just don't see that happening. Today's going to be a tough game. It's going to be more like the Vikings game because of the defense we're going up against. So it probably should be a low-scoring game. But how can you disagree with what he's done? You tell me.
Let's not forget last year, in this rookie head coaching, staff that we had with Justin Fields in his first year, people are forgetting the games that Justin Fields had drives for comebacks to win games. They had 2 goal line stances against the freaking Commanders and couldn't score one of them to win the game. They had another goal line stance against the Packers at the end of the game, couldn't score. They lose that game. There's 3 wins right there. They're driving the ball down the field against the Vikings. Smith-Marset, that traitor, hands the ball back to the Vikings. They win the game. Justin was driving us down the field. Let's talk about there was another game too where Velus Jones fumbled the ball. He fumbled the punt, gave the other team the ball back. They scored. You know, they were only like 15 yards. They scored. Yeah. Justin can't get that last drive, but he did the drive before. If he doesn't fumble that freaking punt, they win that game. So there's 4 games at least last year that Justin Fields had comebacks that were leading the team for a game-winning drive that stalled. That was not his fault. Maybe the one pass against the Packers, he overthrew Mooney a little bit, but it looked like for a second he could have been in there. But you go to then this year. Let's not forget the Steelers last year with that the taunting play. We won that game, so there's 5 right there for Justin. Just that's last year alone. Then you go into this season. There's been some games too where we should have won this. I mean, devil's advocate. You can say, okay, a great quarterback would have gotten us one more touchdown drive in the Vikings game just to seal it, to get over the bad play of the defense. But then you can look at the first half of that game and say, dude, if it wasn't for him throwing the Hail Mary at the end of the first half, he would have had like 24 straight completions in a row, which would have shattered the Bears record of currently. Yeah, I think it was a Bears record. Now he sits at 16. It would have been like 24. So, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. And just to talk about what you were saying, Foster, but to talk about this tweet exactly. Yes, I agree with it. I saw Swifty tweet something out too about, and he listed the teams that built their teams first and then added the quarterback. And we already had the quarterback and we're trying to build the team around this quarterback, but we're also starting over with a brand new coaching staff. This coaching staff is a young, unexperienced first-time head coaching staff with, first-time offensive coordinator who was a QB coach before that. So there has to be a little give and take here. And we all as Bears fans are just, we're impatient. Like we're always amped up because where's our quarterback? Where's our team? We've seen the Packers with 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks, in a row. We have all this downtime in the winter. It's cold and shitty out. All we have is our Bears. So we are very passionate about them. So I think that this tweet is well said. You have to continue to build this team around and stop pointing the finger at everybody. Now we're starting to see some wins come along. If we can actually win out, knock on some wood, all right, because I hope we can. Look at what that narrative will do. How quickly it will have changed. We go through all of these losses to now possibly we're sitting in a chance to make the playoffs right now. So I'm happy. I'm happy right now. I'm sick of feeling like shit from all these losses. I want to feel good, and I do.
Yeah, and I feel like you almost realistically have to give Justin a chance to develop and understand because, as you both just stated, last year he was all we had. Like, if Justin didn't have something going for us, we had nothing going as a whole team in Chicago Bears. So he got stuck in this hero ball mentality where it's like you have to make a one-in-a-lifetime super crazy play. Right. But the benefit of Justin is he's really a game manager style quarterback. He's a very intelligent player when it comes to the position of the quarterback position. So, but he just has those freak athletic abilities that gives him that game-changing attribute, which he provided for us last year and why we loved him so much last year. And now we go get him some help. Let him adjust. Let him understand that, okay, Justin, we don't need you to force, to extend the play every time. Throw the ball out of bounds. Just drop to the ground. If the pocket is collapsing on you, just hit the floor. We don't need you to try to slip out of the pocket and, we love it when we see it and it works, but then we hate it when it don't work. But now let him understand that, Justin, we don't need you to do that. Try to find DJ Moore even out, on a little curl route because he is able to make those plays alongside with you. And it's at a little bit less of a threat to yourself of having those costly sacks, having those costly fumbles. Justin, throw the ball out of bounds. We have another down. It doesn't have to be this down. We play for the inches, manage the game, continue to move the ball and push and have progress. So that's why I say we stick with Justin, because he's working with what we're giving him.
To what you were saying, to piggyback off that, because he has these rare abilities to make plays with his legs, with his arm, everyone is expecting him to make that big play. And when it doesn't happen, or he fumbles the ball because he's trying too hard, because this team is losing together and trying to figure out how to win with a bunch of new players, a lot of rookies have been playing the last 2 years. Everyone's looking to him to make that big play. And when he screws it up by fumbling the ball to end the game, we're putting all the blame on him for the loss. The dude's trying. He's giving it all that he has to try to get some wins. And now, just with a little bit of patience, we're starting to see the fruition of this.
He's only run for about 450 yards this year so far. Nobody's talking about that either, how he's the number 3 rushing quarterback in the NFL this year, because he doesn't have to do what he did last year. He doesn't have to play that hair ball. If you remember, we had a good running game last year too, but then you look at the stats, a lot of that was Justin, man. We don't have to rely on him doing that. He's not running around for his life. And that took an adjustment too, because he's so used to not trusting the receivers and having to do things on his own. That took, those first 4 losses, a lot of that was right here in his head, man.
Sure.
Because he didn't have the trust. He didn't have the trust, because when you go through a long period of time doing something one way and you're stuck in that, especially when you're stuck in it makes it difficult to make the adjustment. Hey, wait, I got some help now, man. I don't have to do all this crap by myself.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a realization.
The light comes on, right?
Yeah, well, it's a realization. You get the realization, man, I'm not alone anymore with this. I got some guys up front that are blocking for me. I got some time. I got a wide receiver. I got 3 decent backs that I can hand the ball off to them. Just get them the ball. Let them do their thing, man. So you got to take account for that adjustment too, because, man, you go back to last year and just the difference from last year till after like game 6 or 7, the difference in the amount of time where he had to make a decision. It's tough to make a decision in 1.5 seconds. Try and do it. Get a stopwatch out with the second hand, get some questions, and then make your decision in 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds. See how easy it is.
Right.
So it's been an adjustment that he's had to make by not being used to having this talent.
Yeah.
After having the success at Ohio State and then coming to this team.
Yeah.
Man.
I said it in chat.
You got to give him credit for his mental strength. Go ahead, Swift.
Only 1 interception in the last 5 games, as opposed to 5 in the first 5 games.
Right.
So that's improvement, man.
Absolutely. So Vic, you got a point that you were trying to make, and we'll move on to the.
I think the ideal of this tweet is very fairy tale. Like think about how many quarterbacks in the last, just say 3 years, that had opportunity and it went because the coaching staff changed. I don't know why everybody's so caught up on like, oh, why are we being so hard on Justin? It's because the whole league's hard on every quarterback in the league. Think about it. Josh Dobbs is just now getting the opportunity, like he wasn't the backup for Ben Roethlisberger during his retirement year. He had just got drafted. He should have been a starter then, but he didn't get an opportunity. They just said, we're going with Mason Rudolph. Like, think about that. The quarterback position has never gotten a fair shake, so I'm not going to pretend like we should give Justin Fields, or everybody should give Justin Fields a fair shake. That has never been given in the league ever. Like, it's never gone that way for any quarterback. Like, you get drafted, that coach is there. If that coach is a fuck up, sorry, your career's over. This is the reason why it's so sad for Bryce Young right now. It's like, you just got drafted number 1, and you should be one of the happiest guys in the world. And his parents are at the game in Alabama gear. Like, think about that. Like, and he's basically screaming that this is unfair. And 9 times out of 10, it could very much likely they could get a new coach, and that coach say, well, I don't really like Bryce Young. This happened not too long ago with Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. Josh Rosen, who was a what #1 pick, just got there, and the next year they get Kyler Gordon, and have you seen him since? No.
They made a
So
huge mistake.
that's just naturally been how the NFL works. No, it's not the greatest idea. No, it's not the greatest formula, but it's been that. And I can understand a coach coming in. If they fire Eberflus and they get somebody else, that coach can easily say, "No, I don't think Justin Fields is my quarterback." It's not because Justin Fields isn't talented. It's not because Justin Fields hasn't showed an improvement. No, they probably think all of those things, but he's not my style.
Well,
I don't think I connect with him.
That's a great point.
Right.
On the devil's advocate side, we can table that because I know we can talk about that on one of our next ones because that was a very great point, Vic. You know, a lot of times I don't want people to think they have to agree with everything that's said. That's why I said.
And I'm not even saying that. I think Justin Fields should go. I'm just realistic to the idea that hey, whoever they hire next, if they hire John Harbaugh, if they hire Eric Bellamy, they might come in and say, you don't seem like he's my cup of tea. Right. I think I like Drake May. I think I like so I think he might fit in my offense a little better because they are bringing their offense. There's only a few coaches that's actually changed and shaped themselves around a quarterback. You think about Lamar Jackson's situation. They could have easily kept trying to make him play like Joe Flacco. They said, no, we're gonna go run heavy because we know you like to run. You're good at run. There's only like a handful of coaches that's actually going to shape that team up like that.
Yeah, I hear. Great point. Great point.
Quarter development like it used to be, dude. They're throwing right into the fire, so that doesn't help the situation either. I get exactly what you're saying because you're correct.
It's a lottery. It's a lottery.
Yeah, I hear you all, but we're at 11:12. The game will be on in about 45 plus minutes. So let's try to get into the Bears versus Cleveland Browns game, the preview. I just wanted to highlight that this is the current draft order that we are in. I want to try to keep that updated every week when we come on so that we know where we're at. I wanted to go through some trade proposals, but maybe we can table that and we can get into that in another episode. We'll be putting together another episode, hopefully maybe midweek or maybe next Sunday we'll do another one. So we're going to skip over the trade proposal because we're a little pressed for time. And we're going to go into the Bears and Browns preview, obviously. Let me move that brand down. Put that out the way and bring us all back. Let's see here. Here we go. All right. So we're going to get into the Bears versus Browns preview. One thing that I did want to note, obviously, they have a ton of inactives. They're missing their starting defensive tackle, their starting safety, as well as a few offensive linemen. I really don't care about their team like that, so I don't feel like posting their names, pictures, or anything of that nature. All I know is we need to beat their ass and we need to get this dub. So I will talk about the one major injury, just real briefly, just in case fans or fans of the Bears or people that are in the chat don't know. Yannick Ngakoue broke his ankle last week versus the Detroit Lions, and he is now on season-ending IR. Hopefully, DeMarcus Walker, Dominique Robinson, somebody steps up because Dexter, as well as Pickens, Billings, the middle guys, they've been doing their thing and doing their job. So that other end has to step up, especially since we've got Montez Sweat. So let's start with Ju. What Browns players or matchups are you worried about it?
Yeah, the Browns defense, and I think we touched base on that earlier. That's currently their strong suit to the Cleveland Browns and their benefit. But I like these games for Justin Fields because I feel like these are those games that we could take and put on his resume if he can accomplish and bring these W's out as to why we should keep Justin Fields. Browns is, they play aggressive. They definitely get down at the quarterback. They got a solid D line up front, so they're gonna be attacking Justin, and it's gonna be really up to him of what can he expose about this defense. He was able to squeak out that Vikings win, and personally, I definitely think that Vikings defense is a way tougher defense than the Browns defense. But I would like to see him kind of break down the defense a little bit more in a consistent way, where it's like, all right, it doesn't always have to end up in touchdowns, but let's get a field goal range a little bit more. If we're going to kick field goals all day, let's not have an ugly 12 points, 13, let's get 24 points on some field goals. So we're showing teams that, okay, even if we always can't get into that end zone, we are always a threat. And Justin Fields, his resume continues to collect those yards and that production. So that Browns defense is going to be definitely the scary matchup for us today, knowing that our team can do some silly stuff with the last, end of the game turnovers. If the game is close, that can, that Browns defense can be one to, turn a situation around with a defensive touchdown to solidify their win.
Yeah, you kind of brought Colleen's voice. I don't know if y'all remember when she said, "Step on a jugular."
Yeah,
keep it going. Don't on our first episode. That ring, we got to find a clip of that and put that in the shorts or something like that, because she was like, "Oh,
don't give up.
Don't give up. Keep it moving." So I'll go to Shorty real quick. What did you got something?
Oh yeah.
Sorry.
The funny part is, I think they actually need to worry about Joe Flacco. like the funny part is, people forget Joe Flacco was playing for the Jets and got benched for what, I forgot his name. Starting quarterback right now, Zach Wilson. He got benched for Zach Wilson, but before he got benched for Zach Wilson, he was leading the league in passing yards. So he can. The one thing he do, he can get that ball out still. It's not like they're looking for him to be athletic. And before he came, their strong suit was running the ball already. So now I can give it to the actual threats, because Amari Cooper's still good. Amari Cooper is not like he's just a bad receiver. He just went to Cleveland, unfortunately. If he didn't go to Cleveland, I think he still would be talked about as one of the best receivers in the league. So there's actually still, I think he'll be a little sneaky, and people will expect less from him, and then he'll overperform, because that's basically what he did last week in their win. People kind of thought, the Browns offense is just going to be terrible because all their quarterbacks keep getting hurt. And look at them, dicing them up. So I would be worried about Joe Flacco. He can get the ball out quick. He makes quick decisions. He doesn't really make bad decisions often. He doesn't force things. He will throw it away. Game manager, we've seen almost like the theme of the week. He's a very good game manager. He's not going to lose the game for you. He may not win the game for you, but he won't lose the game for you. And that's going to be scary for the Bears, because that defense is good. Myles Garrett is doing emotes in front of the offensive line. He's dancing and doing dribble moves, and that's how good and confident that he is. So you got to worry about that defense and that man-to-man defense. And then the offense actually can move the ball. The Bears is going to have a tough one. This doesn't seem as easy as it was to me, as it was before Joe Flacco came in.
You sound like my son Aiden. What's the game that they play? The
Fortnite.
Yeah.
He said emo.
Yeah. Well, if anybody's gamers, y'all stream, so y'all might get a gamer here and there. If anybody streams, everybody knows that almost every game in the world has emotes now. Madden has emotes. So yeah, it's just a little vernacular for you guys. Emotes
for us older heads.
Yeah, explain emote first, so I know what you're talking about.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I was saying, but I think it's just hilarious that Myles Garrett is basically doing just emotes in front of basketball players. Do it all the time. They shoot a three and they do a little dance or something.
Oh,
but
I got you.
To think that the guy is doing this, to think the guy's doing this before he makes the play.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. We might fight because what do you don't dance don't dance in front of me and then sack my quarterback and then emote again. No, sir, calm down.
Shorty, anybody you worried about?
I'm a little bit worried about Flacco. To your point, Vic, I think that he's someone you can't overlook. We can all sit here and say, "Oh, he's a statue back there," but he gets rid of the ball. He's the good game manager. He won a Super Bowl being a good game manager with a good defense. So, if not great defense, and now he's got the number 1 defense in the league. We can't forget that our starting offensive line is intact right now. So, I mean, we could be protecting Justin Fields here better today than what happened to everybody. You guys all just okay. I'm like, did everybody just
We
go
let you get your soapbox on.
No, I mean, our offensive line has been playing better. So, because they're at full strength pretty much. So, I think that hopefully we'll be able to. I think we're going to be able to contain this defensive line a little bit better than we think today. I'm a little more concerned with the loss of Yannick, who's starting to play better once we got Sweat. And I just hope that we can get pressure on Flacco. If we can get some sacks or a strip sack, something like that, and get into his head a little bit, I think that's the guy that we have to worry about today.
Absolutely. Foster?
Hey, I got a few points, and the first, I'll start with their offensive line. They're missing their starting center, Pochik. Very important. They got one of their guards is can't remember if he's second or third string. So you're talking about Flacco, and I'm with you on it, man. Get some pressure on Flacco immediately. The more often, the better, man. Smack him around. His safety blanket is Njoku, the tight end. That's somebody that we need to stick with. Nobody's talking about it. That's a big point of this game for Flacco, because if you go back and look what he's done since he's been in there, man, I don't know. I think Njoku's got more receptions since he's been around than in the previous 5 games without him. The guy's huge. And then as far as the defense, I think we can handle it, but we need to, as our own, we need to start off running the ball, because the middle of that defensive line is banged up. They're actually missing 2 starters, or one of them's big in the rotation. So if we can run the ball and start off with some quicker passes, maybe like a slant, that's pretty key there. But I say smack Flacco often. Right. If we smack Flacco around early and we stop their running game and we cover up Njoku, that is one of the biggest keys to me to victory, to shutting down this offense, because we hold them under 20 and let's score over 20, man. We can do it. I know we can do it. I got to run, guys, because I got a little driving to do, and I got 28 minutes to do all this stuff. So,
for sure.
Thank you for having me on. Great show. Good to see you guys again. If you're unlucky, you'll get to talk to me again, man. Stay safe, everybody.
Thanks for joining us, Foster. Drive safe. Till next time.
Hey, one other thing, too. This is mainly for me, but all you guys, you shouldn't always believe everything that you think. It's a joke, man. Stay safe, guys.
For sure. You too.
Make sure you check out Foster on the post game show tonight at 11 p.m. on Bears Country Productions.
Sure. Thank you.
So, Vic, I'll go to you real quick. Foster got to get out of here, so let me get him out there.
When you pulled up my screen and I was the main screen, I'm so used to like being able to see everything, because I'm usually running the show, that I was like, oh my God, everyone's gone.
That's because Walt does all your production and stuff.
What's that?
I said Walt does all your production, those things where he pulls up. I learned from watching Walt on your show that's kind of a key thing, and I kind of just, I guess, in the excitement talking football with my nephews and stuff today, I forgot to like bring them up when we're talking and stuff too. Yeah, no, I just thought about it like I need to, because my nephew will be doing the editing side, so he needs those expanded views, so we can have like solo shots and things of that nature. So I heard his voice in my head, and I thought about how Walt does his thing on your show, where he pulls up people when they're talking. So I'm learning as I go. My nephew, he's got that thought process in regards to video editing and production to a science, and I'm learning and everything. I just know how to talk sports and stuff and press the power button.
If you need any help with anything, you gotta, we can help you with stuff too. Any questions or anything you need, and we're happy to help. I know I talked to you about getting a commercial from you.
Oh yeah, we're gonna cut. My nephew wants to work on the intro, and he's my other nephew Juju here. He's in marketing and stuff like that. So they're putting together things that you'll see that they're great at this. The stuff that I have made prior to this, or that you see now, is me working on my phone, me getting on the computer and making some stuff. Their stuff would be 150,000 times better than mine. I'm just an old man trying to live in a world. But I think I was going to do.
You should go back to the main. Put me on the main screen real quick, and I'll do a quick plug, and you can use that clip to make a commercial.
For sure.
Wrong one.
Oh, my bad. Let me see. Gotcha.
Hey, this is Shorty here from Bears Country Productions, and you are watching Ville 3-Point Stands podcast.
Appreciate you, boss. So let's get everybody back in here. All right, so I think Foster kind of went over, the keys to the victory. Do you guys, Juju or Vic, anyone of you all got any extra ideas of what they should do to seal this victory before we give our Bears versus Browns scoring predictions, and then wrap the show, because we need to go to the liquor store. We need to order these wings, and we got my brother here. Come on up here real quick. This is my brother Mike. He is a chef. This is the guy that I was telling you about on your show probably last year. He's the one that caters everything for us. He's going to be doing, how my wife cooks all the time. She asked my brother to come over today. He was going to come over to watch the game anyway, but he's going to be making.
She wanted some fish tacos, some crispy fish tacos.
Ooh. And
then I bought some flaming hot turkey gumbo balls. So yeah.
Ooh.
So he's a personal chef. He graduated Le Cordon Bleu, and he's had his catering business. Well, he's been catering. Him and his mom get down in the kitchen. So he has his own catering business for years. He also, his wife and daughter, they create these things, the cups and the different. This comes from another company, but they do this too, screen prints and stuff like that, all type of things. Shout out your company real quick before we get into these predictions.
Shout out Personal Eats Catering. Shout out Current Vibe, current_vibe today.
Mm-hmm.
They do all the custom cups and everything. Shout out Personal Eats. Chef and Wiley sitting here right here. I make everything.
And where can they find you? Instagram?
Instagram, Mr. CEO 1982. Facebook, Chef M. Wiley. Snapchat. I'm on TikTok. I'm on I can't even think off my head right now. I mean,
yes. We're gonna start posting his business stuff in the episodes. I plan on doing like once a month. I was telling my brother, and I want to do once a month a small business and bring them in and just talk about them, like Leon, tattoo business, and talk about their beginnings and things. So I think January 7th, I want to bring him on to do a little show with us. We're gonna talk about that and kind of talk to him about that, because we like to eat.
Yeah.
Like to eat. Like my
nephew ends up being about food.
Absolutely. So we want to bring him on, shout him out. Chef M. Wiley, Facebook, Instagram. If you see his Facebook and his Snapchat as well as his Instagram, I'm trying to get him on Twitter too. The food looks so delicious. It just makes me call him right away and say, whatever you just posted, make that. I'll be over in 5 minutes. And I don't ask for free shit, so he knows if I'm saying that I'm coming with money. But let's go ahead. I'll start with Vic.
I ain't gonna accept his money though.
I'll start with Vic. Let's go with the Bears versus Browns predictions. What do you think? He doesn't like them.
I gotta hate that I went first, but I'm gonna go ahead. I actually don't know if they can tough this out. I actually don't know. This is making me real nervous after watching the last game where Joe Flacco's playing good. And if the defense wasn't as good as it is, it wouldn't make me as nervous. Because in my mind, I think the Bears could compete and they could keep that game close. I think the Bears defense is good enough to keep that game close. What I'm nervous about is the end of the game. The end of the game, I've been noticing, granted, it hasn't been entirely Justin Fields' fault, like we said, but I noticed when he gets put under a little pressure at the end of the game, he wants to make a big play so bad. So bad. You can tell he's fighting, but 9 times out of 10, that's the reason why he ends up turning over the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be a fumble, it's like, hey, you could have got out. You could have
Right.
got out and threw it away. You know, you live to play another down. But I noticed he tries to force a little bit towards the end of the game. So I'm a little nervous. So I'm going 17-14. 17-14. I don't think Joe Flacco is gonna dice us up as bad as I'm hyping him up. But I'm a little nervous. I'm going 17-14 Browns offense. 17-14.
We'll go Shorty, then Jew, and then Mike. You can jump in this too. Go Shorty.
Well, I also do another. I'm part of the PSF app. If you guys haven't checked that out, check that out. It's a mobile app for your phone. I do a game cast here and there with Lester Wiltfong Jr., the senior editor for the Windy City Gridiron.
Oh, yeah,
And we also do a show on Tuesday nights, a little half-an-hour show at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And this previous show, this past Tuesday, we did our score predictions. So I think I'm going to stick with it. I called like 35-20 Bears. I think that we're going to score some points this game. I think that we're going to surprise people against this defense. So I'm going 35-20 Bears. What a homer call that is, huh?
Hey,
Right.
Shorty, you always on the positive side.
Try to be, man.
Definitely. I think I'm with Shorty on this. I'm tending to tell, a higher score. And that was kind of my prediction last week. My go-to is if the Bears come out aggressive and they don't try to play timid or be, too hesitant with, taking shots. When they come out and they play football and they just worry about themselves, they look like a great team. And I think that goes to the point of what Vic was saying about them finishing games, is because they so timid throughout the game. They're like, oh, all right, we want to go downfield, we need to score. Like, oh, okay, let's just not turn over the ball. And they're like, okay, Justin, we need you to go make a play because they offense just score. Like, no, play your game, manage your game, call a full game, and continue to produce while the clock is running. Don't stop because you're up 2 touchdowns. Like how you see these teams that are running up the score. Run up the score, make it difficult. That even if Justin Fields fumbled 3 times in a row in the fourth quarter, they need 5 touchdowns to be able to tie this game up. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, give your team that cushion for that error and not play the game so close. I do understand and leave it to Joe Flacco. If Joe Flacco beats you, it's the dude's only played 2 games. How much can you really prep for Joe Flacco? Same thing of why Josh Dobbs went on his tear. I mean, he's a great quarterback, but teams is like, I've never seen you play. Like, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What can't you do? Like the dude didn't know nobody on the scene. But it was just like teams weren't prepared to expect that situation. Same thing with Joe Flacco. If you lose to him, that's just because he is the quarterback that he is. Even better than a Josh Dobbs situation, he's a vet. So he's not really worried about much besides what he knows what to do, which is move the ball downfield. So I'm going to go with an upper projection. I'm going to kind of go around the 32-28, around that range, 27, because I think that the Bears, as long as that, they stick to their game plan, they can put up some touchdowns. We got a lot of dudes who can, make something happen with the ball in their hand.
All right, Mike, this is your first time on 3 Point Stands podcast. So we're going to let Chef M. Wiley give his Bears prediction.
Man, I don't even know. All I'm looking for is a dub. I'm looking for Fields not to get sacked. I'm looking for him not to try to extend the plays as much as he tries to extend them, and we end up with loss of yards. My prediction, possibly, I'm looking at a high score. I'm going 34-2.
On the game.
I like that.
Blowout. Get him out.
That's a money bet.
So,
Blowout.
yeah, I like that. We might have to put Juju. Oh, speaking of money bets, before I get my prediction, you put any bets in, my guy?
Yeah, you already know I put a few bets in. So definitely here and there, if y'all come to the podcast, maybe I could put y'all in on a few of my money bets. Definitely this Bears game is always going to be in the lineup. So me being a hardcore Bears fan I always put one with the money line. But I'll take a safety +3 bet if you want to. And then you can always take Fields over the yards. If Fields going to hit the over total yards between the combination of running and throwing it. DJ Moore is an easy gimme with the yards. If you expect the Bears to put up points, our production comes through those guys, the DJ Moore co-commit. So definitely in the future, maybe I could come with a little script or something. I can let y'all walk away with a little money in your pocket. I know it help bring you back next time.
Man, we all can use that.
Yes, sir. So scrolling across the bottom, we Shorty, I don't know if I told you. I meant to call you about it. You know, me and Shorty talk like brothers. He all the way down in Atlanta, right, or in the Georgia area, in the Georgia, but around the Atlanta area. But we are now partnered with BetStamp, and we have our own sign up link, which is scrolling across the bottom. Sign up expert. What is it? / sorry, I need to look at it myself. Signupexpert.com /stans STANS. That's signupexpert.com /stans STANS. Stands, that's like fanatical fan. So if you use our sign up link, it brings up the best opening or registry signups for the first time bettors or first time registers for like FanDuel, Underdog Fantasy, DraftKings, all of the best sport book casinos, online casinos, I should say. I think FanDuel has a $5 bet, get $150 bonus bet, win or lose at this moment. So check that out. Use our link to sign up and get that money. Juju will be coming with those. You got any other ones? Because I need to put in some bets before.
Shoot, definitely I can always pull something out of my back pocket. It definitely just capitalizing on the Bears game. I like to do the same game parlay, so I like to take those teams that I know, those players that I know that are high, efficient players. Co-commit is another one for the Bears. You want to throw them in a parlay, and then even if you want to, you want to side with the Browns to make that, stretch that parlay a little bit more. Definitely Joe Flacco with the yards. Those apps are gonna tend to underestimate what he can do because he is just so kind of new to the season. His over and under yards are gonna be pretty low, so I would shoot for the over. Maybe if you want to take the plus 225, you could take it because the Browns have any chance. And I feel like they've understood to this point that without Joe Flacco being able to do what he can do, which is throw that ball, they're gonna have to be able to do that. If we take a few other games, I definitely like. Let me see. I'm a big 49ers guy when it comes to betting. They playing the Cardinals today. They've been demolishing everybody. They really just kind of showing the league and just bragging and just really playing with their ass out, saying like, y'all not as good as we are. So I definitely teased them with at least a touchdown, -7. If you're feeling bold, I would tease it even up to max at -13. I definitely know that I've done it a few times and they've been able to capitalize on that. And then that Cowboys-Bills game, that's a tough one, but I think those are two teams with very high efficient offense productivity. So, between Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen, Gabe Davis, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, they got a lot of guys on the field who are going to be able to, get some yards, who are going to get some yards. So taking those guys plus the yards, taking those quarterbacks plus the yards, those to me feel like some good bets. And like I say, I really only like to touch games where, all right, these is guys I know that are, those game changers and they elite players. So you can definitely take them.
Sure. Sound like if y'all should have took the advice, y'all gonna make some money. You know what I'm saying? Do not bet if you're scared of losing money or can't afford to lose the money, because you're not going to come to 3 Point Stance or my nephew and blame him for your loss.
Listen, take these bets at your own risk. I'm giving risk. This is a risk for me. Don't let my risk mess you up. No, I'm just playing. But please do not take, I'm not a pro at this. I'm doing this as a fan. So when I'm coming here, I'm coming in with complete fan knowledge and just a lover of the game.
For sure. 21 plus in Illinois, at least. It'll let you know all the rules if you use our sign up link, sign up expert /stands, or if you go on any of them, it'll let you know what's available in your area if you use our link. It's 21 plus here. Be careful, bet responsibly. But my prediction, I'm going to go in the middle of everyone. I'll go probably 27-20 Bears. I'll give it that, I'll give a little wiggle room for Cleveland's offense and Joe Flacco to be efficient, or their offense to score a decent amount. So that's my prediction for the game. And we'll go ahead and wrap the show because it's 11:40. We wanted to try to end at least by 11:45 to allow Shorty to get to where he needs to go if he's watching the game at the house. I know BCP also has live cast during the game and other things, so he might need to touch bases with his crew. He is the overall host of Bears Country podcast and productions, so I'll try to get him out of here real quick. Shorty, where can they find you?
I know it's confusing. I started off the channel as Bears Country Podcast, and then I started putting out videos last year, like Justin and I replay videos, things like that. And somebody commented, I thought this was a podcast. So I changed it to Bears Country Productions. And then I was like, man, there's confusion. So now I just try to like acronym it and it's BCP. So BCP at Bears Country Pod on Twitter, at Bears Country Productions on YouTube. And then, of course, you can check us out on the PSF app, Pro Sports Fans app. First off, congratulations on the affiliation here. I just have it recently myself with BetUS, so I know it's difficult to try to like read all this stuff, and it's a learning process for me too. So great job.
Thank you.
And congratulations on live streaming, dude. This is awesome. I'm glad to be a part of it. Thank you for having me on. And
appreciate you for answering. Like, I think I hit you last night while I was working, and you're like, yeah. I got you, bro. You've always been there for me. Just a little bit about being Shorty's history, for my nephews, and because Foster was on the first episode, so they met Zaddy Claus Paws back then.
Playoff beard.
With a playoff beard. But Shorty has been there since day one, pretty much, and always pushing me to get on this show. Hey, come on anytime you need to do something so you can get the nerves out. My nephews came on that first episode, Shorty. I know you missed it because you was out whining and dining the wife. I feel you. But they hit the ground running. I came on the first 10 minutes of that first episode because Swifty was having issues with his camera. My nephew was like, nah, he was smoking a beat. Swifty's thing. But I was nervous. I'm like, what's going on? It's only me and the camera. He's not coming on, all type of new stuff. As soon as I bring my nephews on, they like, yeah, so this skip it. And I'm like, cool. I guess if I can't carry the show, they gonna carry it. So it brings me help. Right. Oh, my nephews are everything to me. They're like my brother's sons. We used to have. I always laugh with them when we talk about our uncle nephew weekends or nights when they would come over to my apartments, or when I lived in the house with their granny, with my mom and dad. They're amazing men, first and foremost. Great people. They'll do anything and everything for anyone that has a good heart. I say, they're not no fools, but I appreciate them when I reached out to them and said, hey, I'm relaunching in 2024, just like I reached out to you, Shorty, and said, hey, I'm relaunching. They were like, Unc, we there. No doubt, whatever you need us for. And just like you just said, having to rethink of things. They sat me down on Friday and was like, hey, Unc, you got to focus the business side, marketing degree, film guy, been doing film for years. Vic with the film, marketing degree with Juju, and they were like, "You got to focus. You got to make sure you brand it correctly."
About the chef providing the food.
Oh yeah, I've been trying to get that for the last year, to have him bring something on every episode, so then he can advertise his business. So I'm trying to get everybody included and take this to the next level and just be different. Like we just want to be different. We want to have a barbershop basement bar feel every time, and I think my nephews can help me take it to the next level because they think way beyond just me looking in the camera and talking. Like they think and they look out for me, or they look out for the show or the idea or the ideology of the show all around on the business side. And that's where I'm at a loss because I just be out here having fun, talking shit.
Right.
So
That's
my
me. I
nephew
hear you.
bro, we trying to make money. Both my nephews like,
Ain't that always the goal?
yeah. So
I like the table like discussion that you have going on. It's unique and cool.
yeah. I just turned this around. I just hoped it worked.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. It's unique.
Yeah. So, but we appreciate you for Shorty for joining. We know you'll be on again, and I'll probably be on this week with you or in the upcoming weeks. Thanks to Foster. We tried to reach out to Shay. Hopefully we can have PJ and Walt on. Walt said he's going to church. My wife's on her way to church as well. But we on our way to the liquor store, praise God. And we thank the chat and everyone for joining us. We got Mama Bear. Hey, Mama Bear's in here, Shorty. Remember from Twitter, she loves all the Chicago Bears podcasters. She, I love that picture. I wish I'm gonna find that picture, but she finally made it to a Bears game a few weeks ago when it was good weather, and that was an awesome picture to see her there. Marcus in the building. Foster stayed on at least to join the chat. Brent from Bears Media Co. Swifty came in and dropped in. Don't know if he's still in there, but I know he's got to work on videos himself. So we appreciate everyone that's joined. I know some of my family is in. My sister Tyra, which is Vic's mom, she joined in when I texted her, and she texted Vic to make sure we were on live. So I appreciate my wife. I always got to say thank you every episode. She doesn't have to cook this time, Shorty. So we got the chef in the building. I don't know why he was down here because I don't think food is ready. I thought he was going to cook beforehand. So when we make this run to this liquor store, hopefully he gets upstairs and hit the kitchen and gets it cracking. Because my wife is off today. Once he agreed, she was like, "That's it. I'm keeping my feet up." So I appreciate you, Shorty. I appreciate my host, and I'll say this every episode. My co-hosts, my nephews, I appreciate them because they come from Birdwin, Maywood. They have to make the trip here to the studio, and they wanted to come here. Most people be like, just send me the link. They wanted to come here. They wanted to feel the vibes. They wanted to be with their uncle, to support their uncle, but to also to build their brand as well, because this is an open space. I want to be like you, Shorty, in regards to 3-point stands being the umbrella, and they take off with anything else under it or whatever. And then when they're ready to take off somewhere else, I can just be proud and sit there like, I don't know, if you've seen what's his name? The Honorable Muhammad, he's got the meme where he's like this, and they say pleased or something over it, and he's like sitting there like this, like a happy father, uncle, pastor, minister, like, my congregation. But that's what I want to see. I want to see them take off in their own fields. But I appreciate you for being our first guest. Appreciate all of y'all. Y'all know y'all uncle get emotional sometimes, so I'm gonna wrap this up real quick because I've been drinking tequila. If you know how tequila does you, I usually am a dark person. What's your favorite drink, or what's your go-to?
Recently, I've been liking bourbon. I always do whiskey, but
whiskey
I think the
person,
bourbon creeping up on me as a thing right now.
I party a lot, so it's been a lot of tequila. So we're women and tequila. That's all.
You and your TT.
That's my. Jesus Christ! I didn't even think about that. Yeah. My mom drinks tequila.
Oh yeah, she does.
So does mine.
The funny part is I never really messed with tequila until like maybe this year. And it's like, and I didn't even think about the fact that my mom now I don't even want to drink it anymore.
Like mom likes it.
Yeah, I don't want to drink it anymore. Never mind. Thanks, mom. I don't want to drink tequila anymore. Never.
My go-to is Malort now.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say that to you, Shorty. I was trying to save it for you. But me and my brother, in our broke days, which are still kind of occurring every once in a while, but in our living together, 19, 20, 21 years old, in apartments or whatever, our go-to drink was what?
Well, we had 1,800 at the time.
No, the broke drink.
Oh, that's what my mom drinks right now is 1,800.
Sveka.
What's Amsterdam?
Yeah, Amsterdam.
Amsterdam, man.
And Sailor Jerry.
Yeah, man, y'all gotta have the Sailor Jerry.
Rums, the lights or whatever, but now mine is bourbons, whiskeys, and things like that. My wife always tries to find a nice bourbon or whiskey for me. My neighbor, for my birthday or my wife's birthday, they bring us a nice bourbon. But Shorty, I know you love Malort. That's your favorite thing, just like Matt Walsh told us. He loves it. He loves that Chicago Malort. But what's your favorite drink before we say goodbye?
I'm not. I don't really drink liquor because I get myself in trouble.
But
with
the ladies,
with the wife, yeah. Right now my go-to is seltzers. I know it's pretty pathetic, but I'm going on. It keeps the weight down. It's and you can drink a few more of them than you can a couple beers. So that's my wife calls them the basic bitches. So
basic bitches.
The basic bitches. So yeah, that's my go-to right now.
All right, for sure.
But I will say the Malort wasn't as bad as everyone made it out to. We had 2 shots that night, dude.
Yeah, you sound like the typical Chicago person. Malort. I don't know if y'all. I know you have because we grew. Yeah. We kind of like so. We were me and my nephew here. We were the hood suburbs guys. Like we went from Maywood to Naperville for our high school careers, and then our other nephew, hopefully Keenan, will join us on a later show. But we partied with white folk, suburban folks, and so we got put on to some shit. Yeah, like God damn, this is fun. so Malort, like it hits you and it's something different, but it burns. Me and my wife had a shot on our first anniversary, and they were telling us in whiskey. Was it my wife knows what it is. It's a whiskey bar on Milwaukee or whatever, but I remember the name of another day, obviously. That's what happens. But they were like, Chicago, you're not Chicagoan if you don't take a shot of Malort every time you go out.
Take that damn shot and I almost want to throw up.
And die.
Did I tell you what happened with that? Why we took 2?
Oh, go ahead before I need to hear that.
So I picked up Chris Watts from the airport. I'll make this really quick. So I started a GoFundMe for Chris Watts from England, who now does the British Bear show for us on Tuesdays. So I picked him up from the airport, and we went down to the city. We were staying down there, and we went to Billy Goat's I took him to Billy Goat's for a burger, and I said 2 shots of Malort. She goes, "Oh, the Chicago handshake." I was like, "Yeah." I just thought she meant, that's 2 shots. So I see her pouring these 2 beers. She puts them down. I thought they were for somebody else. She puts the 2 shots down next to him, and we just grab the shot and do the shot. And I ordered a couple more beers, and we're drinking those beers. And she's like, "Why didn't they drink those beers?" So then I'm like, "Can we get 2 more shots, please?" And I just wanted a shot of something else. And she pours 2 more Malorts and puts them back next to the other 2 beers. And I was like, "Are those our beers?" She's like, "Yes, that's the Chicago handshake." I'm like, is this like a car bomb? I'm supposed to drop it in there? She's like, "No, it's the chaser." And I was like, "Oh, it wasn't." It was very bitter, like almost like lemon peel bitter. It didn't taste like lemon, but it had like a lemon peel bitter. And actually, Chris liked it with the burger. He's like, "Actually, this goes quite well with the burger." And I was like, "Yeah, actually, this is not too bad with the burger." So it wasn't as bad as I thought, although it wasn't great.
Yeah, man. So yeah, my experience with Malort was just like sizzling. I think it's Whiskey Business or whatever the name of the bar is. But we took a shot on our first anniversary and it stung, and we felt like death was upon us. So we try to avoid it, but it is that birth into Chicago bar culture. You ever had one?
That's the actually funny part. Y'all saying it was like, that's how you knew I grew up in the suburbs. Like I never thought to even drink any of that. Like y'all talking about this experience, and
I've never even heard of it until we moved.
Like, well, damn, I can't never say I'm from Chicago then, because I was like,
my wife in the city and didn't know about Malort until
South suburbs. We was just getting. Well, when I was first coming up, Ciroc was very popular, and it was cheaper, so everybody was just drinking Ciroc. So that was it. So everybody
the ballers, baller here.
That's the thing. No, that's the thing. At the time, now today it's probably a little more, but like at the time, you're talking about it was $20 for a bottle. So I'm like, shit, I can do $20 for this bottle. Yeah. Got the whole bottle. Everybody shared this one bottle. That was that. That was it. It was like, yeah, exactly. Especially if it was my birthday, I'm holding the bottle. It's my bottle, but I'm sharing it. So I was like, here's a little bit right here. This is mine. Right, you got a last wish.
Hey, this is so Foster right here. Wild Turkey and Budweiser. That is, he probably does it as a combo.
He doesn't drink anymore, but he
I know.
probably did back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, he always tells me what his go-tos were back then. You know what I'm saying? Big ups to him for making that journey. You know, so when I talk to him about it, I try to avoid it at all costs. But he's sharing it himself this time. So, so big ups to Foster for staying on after he got off.
Budweiser goes right through me. I almost had it one time in my life. Not like a Bud Light, not like a straight up Budweiser. And I want to say I took a sip and I went to the bathroom like 5 times. I was on a date too. So a girl looking at me like, what's wrong with you? You got a prostate problem? You got a prostate, right? I'm sitting there like, I'll be back, man. One sip, but I didn't even finish it. I'm like, man, I'm going to be peeing all day.
And here goes your mother, Vic, before we go off, saying, yep. And I think that was probably around the time.
No, she texted me. My mom texted me and says, I stopped drinking tequila a long time, years ago. I was like, oh, you drunk it at one point in time. That's what we're talking about. I'm drinking it. I
have the receipt.
No, I'm following the bloodline, drinking tequila. Maybe I should stop a little sooner.
You pulled out the CBS receipts. Jack. Mark says Jack straight up. I like that. That's a good one too. And then Mark also said Corona.
Jack straight up. He got a very white voice. Got to be. He got to be like just Jack just straight up. Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, I don't like mixing out like Jack with Coke or anything like that. No, it's either straight up or it's not.
Yeah, not with a whiskey. I can't do a mix.
See, I can mix it. Like I don't know. Maybe it's because that's how I was drinking early on. Yeah. Like because I wasn't trying to get messed up. I was like, all right, I'm gonna mix it so I don't get toe up where I'm throwing up because I hate throwing up. So I'm not going. I never want to get
too drunk. Everybody hates throwing up. Like
that's
not cry though. Oh no, I'm dead. Like I'll cry. Like I'll cry in the middle of throwing up. Last time I threw up, I just cried. It was like,
no.
I haven't cried. Family members have died. I've gone through a lot of trauma. Never cried. Throwing up, tears.
Correct.
Shorty, if you need to leave, go ahead.
So I was to say, watch out for the hangovers, man, because when you get older, they get worse.
Yeah, I don't
see. Look, Bill. This is how it happened. This is how my shows turn into 6 hours.
That's why I was just gonna say.
Because you try to get off, you're like, man, I'm having so much fun.
Right. That's like I've been on shows with Shorty from like what 8 to like 3 in the morning. Shorty will get off, and then like 3 hours later he'll come back like, oh, y'all still on, and then he'll jump back on with all his other shows. That's what I was gonna say. If you need to leave, we'll probably keep talking about this for the rest of the time because
I guess we're not going to the liquor store.
And this is a great conversation because I know Party Boy right here, College Boy, all his pitches and all the things that he's like. Alcohol is his expertise.
Yeah, we can definitely drink. I'm one of them guys where I say I can have a good time with a drink and a glass of wine. So definitely, that's why I'm on the bourbon now because I feel like I didn't experience too much. Tequila and vodka was a college drink because it was cheap. You can get it cheap.
You can get it anywhere.
And everybody gonna drink. Everybody. You just get white girl wasted. Basic bitch drink. I would say that's what you say with the basic bitch drink. It's like it's basic. Everybody gonna like it, but shoot, after you do it so long, I'm like, nah, I can't do this. I don't like mixed drinks. I can't mix my drink.
Oh no, I didn't do tequila before. I stayed away from it. So now I'm drinking it.
And then usually I'm sipping it. I'm not really taking shots. Now my tequila vodka, them shot drinks. But I'm like usually I'm sipping with a couple, on the rocks. I'm watching the game. I just want something to take the edge off because the Bears probably gonna piss me off sometime throughout this game. Where I need to sit real quick. Like, let me calm down.
Mark in chat saying Corona, man. He's making me want Corona now.
Yeah, I seen that. I brought that up a little bit. Let me see.
Yeah, I did Corona with the line.
Yeah, my boy.
Another thing I don't like.
My boy Eric. I don't know if he's watching right now. He always brings a big ass cooler of Modelo, Coronas, and leaves it here. And I don't drink beer, so it just be sitting there. And my wife be like, "What are we gonna do with this?" So we have a Shorty. We got a bar that's under like our family picture that we created in the kitchen. And so there's a bar, and then underneath It's cereal on this side, and then 7 cabinets worth of alcohol, or cups, or wine glasses. Y'all know those shot glasses upstairs. So, Jesus, like that's where we keep all the beer that, like my nephew, he came over here to watch it with me. What did you bring? Michelob?
Some Michelob.
And them shit stayed in the motherfucker. Let me tell you what the teacher did with him. I put him in the refrigerator because I want him to come back and be cold and stuff. Because he said, I'm gonna be back over, and I know he was gonna bring Snoop. So I'm like, I'm gonna put him over. I don't know what Snoop might drink, so let me make sure they all cold. 6 hours later, she had him in that cupboard. He was like, we don't drink this shit. It's going in the cupboard.
We're not wasting fridge space.
Right. She's like, no, I need this space. It's all the Thanksgiving food that y'all just ate.
This is so valuable. Your beer can be warm for all
right. So she puts all the beer that people bring to our house for all of our festivities into the cupboard.
And then they're piss warm when somebody comes over and wants a beer.
Exactly.
Throw it in the freezer for 5 minutes or something.
Right. BYOI. Bring your own ice.
I'm about to give you guys the best piece of advice. You are going to look back on this 5 years from now and go, damn, Shorty, thank you. Those that you talked about, the cereal sitting next to that, right?
Yep.
Take your cereal bags when you're done using them. Do not throw them out. Put your head of lettuce in there. Put your vegetables in there. Wrap it up real tight. Put a rubber band around it or something. Dude, we have had lettuce, like a head of lettuce, last for like 6 months by sitting in a regular cereal bag. So save all your cereal bags, dude. They are like the best for keeping your vegetables fresh. I promise you.
We call that things you learn from white folks.
I learned that from my mother-in-law. Like she would save all of her cereal bags. I'm like, what? Really? She passed away, and her cereal, her lettuce was in the cereal bag at her house, and we were there for like a month, and it never went bad. And then when we left, we took that bag with us, and like a month later, the lettuce was still in perfect condition in that cereal bag. So. I'm just saying.
He dropped the mic.
If you want to come back to me and go, that was the best advice.
If you want your motherfucking lettuce to last, don't you put that bitch in your Cap'n Crunch, man.
Throw your celery in there. Throw your carrots in there.
Cherries. Yeah. My wife handles all of that stuff, so I'm sure she's taking notes.
But I hope you're listening to that, TJ.
That's y'all best friends. So. We'll go ahead and let you go, Shorty. I know the chat is still in there with us. Thank you all. We still got 6 viewers. We appreciate you all for getting up early in the morning with us. I am Ville. These are my fabulous co-hosts. Extra pause. My great, wonderful. I was thinking Fabulous the Rapper in my head. I'm sorry, pause. My amazing nephews, co-hosts, that will continue on with us from here on out. Go ahead, Vic, tell them where they can find you.
Everything. So we're gonna try to make everything be posted through 3 Point Pod. 3 Point Stands Pod. That's what everything is gonna go through. We're gonna any clips that we create. That we're gonna do a lot of clips from this episode. Myself will be putting my tweets in there. His tweets to get retweeted in there. We're going to try to put all of our information in one place so we can be very easily found and discoverable. So that's what everybody's going to be doing.
Nice.
Awesome. Sounds good. Yeah. I'll be there. Outside of that, I'm going to just try to be behind camera so I can deliver y'all some more info, some more insight.
I just want to be in the video.
Yeah. I just want, I got something to say. I got to stand too. But yeah, no, we're going to be there and we're going to be just trying to get out as much as we can. So definitely tune in. We got a lot more in store.
All right. And Chef, go ahead and give me your information since you were a last minute pop-up.
Last minute pop-up. Yeah, that's crazy. So I'm on Instagram at Mr. _1982. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. Like I said, I can't get them off the top of my head right now. I got so many socials, different names for the socials. But we try, like you said, try to put everything under 3 Point Stands Pod, and I hopefully be here more so we can get that out.
For sure, for sure. So, Shorty, go ahead and give your information before we close out, where they can find you.
Bears Country Productions, also the Pro Sports Fans mobile app. We're in the Bears chat room on there. I also have a Bears Country podcast channel on there as well, or chat room, I should say. And at Bears Country Pod on Twitter, or at Mr. That's too hard to spell. At Bears Country Pod on Twitter. You can find me there. It's great, making friends with you, Vil, and becoming allies with you. This is what we want to see. We like to support other Bears content creators, not become enemies. There's some that like to become enemies. I don't know why. We're all in this together, and it's nice to have a network of awesome dudes like you to do stuff like this with. So thank you for having me on your show. It's been an honor and a blast, and I can't wait to come back on again.
I appreciate you for agreeing to come on. So we just want to close out by thanking everyone that watched, everybody that commented. I got a couple of notifications that we got some subscribers. So big ups to those that subscribed and commented and kept the algorithm going. So please like the video, leave a bear down in the comments, leave your favorite drinks in the comment, and any other comments from the episode that you would like us to acknowledge. We do a great job of getting back to them and acknowledging you and replying with any questions or responses that you would need. And that should cover it. We'll go ahead and wrap up from here. And as we always say here at 3 Point Stands Podcast, stand for what you believe in. Peace.
Peace.
Oh, Shorty.